Welcome back for the fourth review for the Die Hard in franchise. Rick, for the fourth franchise. Yeah, it's actually the fourth film in the franchise, and today I'm going to review the fourth movie, which is Live Free or Die Hard in America, or in my country, Die Hard 4-0. Yeah, which is the title, and I did review now all the three films, which I love. I love talking about Die Hard films. Die Hard franchise, actually my favorite action franchise. My second favorite action franchise, the Rambo movies, are my favorite franchise. I love all four Rambo movies. I love all four Die Hard movies, and I love the Dirty Harry franchise, all five movies, which there are five movies. I love all five of them. I wish that Die Hard 5 and Rambo 5 will not be so bad movies. I do wish, but they're bad, awful films. I think I'm gonna do a few stuff. I think I'm gonna say a few stuff about A Good Day to Die Hard, why it's not second movie, why it did not work. But I will be talking now about Live Free or Die Hard 4-0. And I did rank them, and I know all of them, all four movies are great. All four Die Hard movies are great. And yeah, and my favorite, and I'm gonna rank them, which is gonna be my favorite. My favorite is Die Hard The Vengeance. Yes, I know this is supposed to be in second one. It was for a while, but it's my favorite movie. That will be number one. Number two will be the first Die Hard. Most of people say it's the best one. I agree. This is the best one, but it used to be my number one. It's actually equal as the first one, But you know what? Die Hard Avengers number one. That will be my second favorite film, and I think my third one will be Live Free or Die Hard. Then of course Die Hard 2 will be number four, but no, it's not my least favorite. They're all great. Just like for Rambo movies, I said Rambo First Blood Part 2 is actually number 4. That's not bad. Number 3 was Rambo 4, but now it's First Blood number 3. 2 is Rambo 4 now, and the first one's Rambo 3. And it's not because I love the third sequel, it's just because they grew on me, and I just love them. But none of those movies are bad. There's no weak link, they're all great. All of them are great. Now, Live Free or Die Hard. This is the fourth film the franchise. Came out in 2007. This was actually based, I think it's written, it was based on the article A Farewell to Arms by John Carlin. Was actually based on the article. And I don't know that much about Live Free or Die Hard. It came out in August 2007. I bought the DVD for Die Hard The Vengeance in September, and I did watch this movie for free on computer that time. I downloaded the internet, and I liked the film. I was kind of really disappointed because it was completely different. Because Bruce Willis now bald like me. He's bald, and it's just. It was way too much CGI and just wasn't practical, like was in the first three movies, and back in 2007, this movie was my favorite Die Hard movie. I non-stop watched this movie, more than the first one. Even the first one I watched. I love all four of them, I love the Die Hard films. They're my favorite franchise of all time. And I love Live Free or Die Hard 4-0, which I love that. I love this movie to death. Sadly, there's nothing in the back, but I can show you the helicopter in the disc. But yeah, it's based on the movie is based on the article from John Carlin, A Farewell to Arms. But it's about John McClane is fighting internet terrorists, which they made a fire sale, and they attacked the United Nations, United States, or United Nations, the country, and they are making the structure to collapse, and it's a fire sale, which only hackers can do. And he's fighting the internet terrorists, the hackers, which are attacking their country. And yeah, that's actually basically the story. Directed was by Len Wiseman, which in my opinion did a great job directing this film. For one point, they wanted to bring back John McTiernan, who directed the first and the third movie, but I read that John McTiernan that time he was in prison and he couldn't came back. He was sitting in prison. I don't know why, but he was in prison at the time, so they found someone else. And Len Wiseman has been ordered to direct this film, which he did. He directed Underworld, the first movie in 2002. Then he directed the sequel. I think came out 2006. No, it was 2003. Underworld came out 2003. So yeah, in 2006 he directed Underworld Evolution, and this is actually his third film. Before he only directed some short videos, but this is actually the third film he directed. In my opinion, he did a great job. Len Wiseman complained about the colors, how they had to film, that he was ordered to do those colors, how I know that it's all green and stuff, but I don't mind it. I love this film. I'm glad it's not a repeat of the second movie or the first movie. And this movie, even though it's an article based on John Carlin, A Farewell to Arms, I would say is actually based on the novel Nothing Lasts Forever from Roderick Thorpe. It is based on the movie, because in the novel Nothing Lasts Forever, Joe Leland's was actually not the wife, but it was actually his daughter. It was actually his daughter who became a hostage. In this movie, the daughter of John McClane became stuck in an elevator, and now she becomes a hostage in this movie. And I like this movie in the city, just like was the third one. Just I don't think it's better than the first one or the third one. But I put this movie above Die Hard 2, Die Harder. I love all four of them. There's no bad Die Hard movie in my opinion. They're all great. All of them on each their own. They're unique films. They're unique. They are great. And back in 2007 and 2013, I did not like this film, but kept watching it. I enjoy it. I enjoy the hell of it. Live Free or Die Hard, not a bad movie. With even PG-13, it's not a bad movie. But yeah, at one point, honestly, that time, the 90s, Die Hard Vengeance ended the trilogy, and there was no talk about fourth Die Hard movie. But back in 2004, there was talks about Die Hard 4, because I do really wish there will be another Die Hard movie with Bruce Willis return as John McClane. Just Bruce Willis complained, I read that Bruce Willis did not want to return with his character John McClane. He was even saying that his character is retired cop. At one point he said his character should be killed, and if the fourth Die Hard will be done, he requested that his character should be killed forever, for all time. He did not want to reveal, he did not want to act his character anymore. But at one point I also did read that he did liked John McClane's attempt saving people, and trying to helping people. I did read that. I also read that Bruce Willis, he gave out a reward for the one who catches Osama bin Laden, and when he was 2011 catch and killed, he wanted to give a reward to the people to catch the terrorists, but I think they did not allow him. I think the government did not allow him to give a reward to the CIA agents. So no, he had to keep the money. But that was nice from Bruce Willis. I heard a lot of stuff about Bruce Willis, like he was this and Die Hard sequels, and I heard a lot of bad stuff, but I also heard good stuff about him, In The Expendables 2, actually the third movie, he demanded more money, and Sylvester Stallone, the producers, fired him, and they got Harrison Ford instead. yeah, there was a lot of complaint about it. I think that people are now saying that Bruce Willis is sleepwalking through his roles. And I don't give a fuck, because Bruce Willis did a lot of great movies, And like I said, definitely my favorite Bruce Willis film is Die Hard: The Vengeance. I think the second one would have been the Last Boy Scout, because I love that film. 3, in my opinion, would have been the first Die Hard. I think number 4 would have been Die Hard 2. Number 5, this movie, In Tough is my third favorite Die Hard film. But all the Die Hard films that he did are definitely my top 5 Bruce Willis films, Yeah, and before they decide to do in which John McClane is battling internet terrorists, there was a lot of plots, they were writing scripts, So Mark Bombach and David Marconi, they wrote a screenplay, but there was actually they had a different plots in mind, At one point, they wanted to do the basic formula, just like from the first movie, in which there's supposed to be a Die Hard, And yeah, I forgot to mention, but I love this movie to death. And Live Free or Die Hard still feels like a Die Hard. It still feels like a Die Hard, Or Die Hard 4.0, it still feels like a Die Hard movie, It's it's a good action movie. Even PG-13, for me, it works, It works, even PG-13. So, what I heard about the plot stories, at one point, they were writing a story with John McClane, who would have been on a holiday once again with his estranged daughter in a hotel, and the hotel will be swarmed by a group terrorists, in which there will be a group terrorists, and his daughter will be a hostage again, and John McClane will have to battle another terrorist, At least that was actually the plot for the film. But then they changed it once again, and they wrote that it will be actually his son, Jack McClane, or John Jr. McClane. He will have been with his father in a holiday, and he will become hostage, and his dad will be battling all the terrorists. They wanted Die Hard. Sadly, the story where they did then in the Marine 2, after this movie was released, they did that story in the hotel scene they did in the Marine 2. So yeah, that was for the WE. They did the Marine 2, that story, but instead the daughter or son, it was the wife of a Marine who battles now terrorists in a hotel. So that story went to that film. Probably they sell it, But the story about Fire Sale, which they attack in which they are attacking the country and they destroying the economic, they're destroying all the economic, the fire sale, which is actually completely ruining everything, the computers, the electricity, the water, everything, it's economy. They decide to attack economy only to get profit and money, and because one of them was a brilliant engineer and wants revenge, And Timothy Olymphian did a great job. I mean, he was in Scream 2 as a bad guy. He was Mickey, which a lot of people are saying that he did a good job in a villain in Scream 2. In this movie, he is Gabriel. I forgot his name. Thomas Gabriel. He's Thomas Gabriel. An ex FBI agent and engineer who designed these things. And in this movie, they go at first, these mercenaries are going killing those hackers. They are killing hackers. And John McClane has to go in New Jersey to pick up this young kid, this hacker, Matthew Long, played by Matthew Farrell, I think was Farrell, played by Justin Long. And when McClane shows up, because there was a bomb in his, I don't know how they did it, but there was a C4 explosion bomb in his house, and because they couldn't, because the bomb's supposed to go off, but because the bomb did not go off, in that computer, and now McClane showed up to go and take this young kid to the FBI, because all the hackers were actually being, they had to go to the FBI, but someone is killing all the hackers, for the fire sale. and because they failed, the bomb fails, they decide to destroy John McClane. They decide to destroy John McClane. I mean, to destroy Matthew Farrell, and John McClane saves them. I think he throws that how's that. That spray, for that fire hose spray. He throws that fire spray and he shot it. He kills one of the bad guys. One of the snipers survives, but one of them dies. And of course McClane saves him. And someone starts attacking the country. And the FBI. Also, this actor, I think is this actor Cliff Curtis, who plays he's an FBI agent. He was a bad guy in Collateral Damage. He was a bad guy in Collateral Damage. He and his team are now trying to find out who's attacking their country, their computers, who's attacking them, who's attacking and who put the fire sale in the computers and attacking economy and the country, And when McClane finds out that this young hacker, Matthew Farrell, is the only one, who tries to help them. They try to kill him, but he decides that he's gonna help McClane. McClane says, "Help me," and they also try to kill Matthew Farrell. And there's they go in this tunnel, and both agents, that the FBI agent, send them. They die. They dead, and I think there was 4 weeks that they actually filmed in which a car is driving, destroy the helicopter with CGI. It has been actually done, but they did successfully. That scene in which McClane, drives through the tunnel, drives a car, and he goes and he crashes the car in the helicopter. That was great. And I forgot to mention, but Maggie Q in this movie as May, she's in this movie. Maggie Q, she was in Mission Impossible 3, and she was in Nikita, the reboot. And she was so great in this movie. What a hot, isn't she? A babe. I mean, she was even kissing Thomas Gabriel, such a babe, And I love the scene in which McClane, goes to these reactors and this factory. They start fighting, and McClane finds this babe, McClane finds this babe, and she's so sexy, man. I miss those movies. Michael Kamen passed away, so he could not return for the music score. So this time the music score, I think, was made by I think it was Brian Tyler. No, it was Marco Beltrami. Marco Beltrami did a music score, which he did great, Michael Kamen could not return because he passed away before this movie was released. Sadly, did I saw this movie in movie theater. I wish I would. But I love this movie. I love Live Free or Die Hard to death. I love this movie. McClane fights this girl, he fights this girl, and there was this stuntman who was actually for McClane, and when Mai kicks him and McClane falls down 25 feet below, that was actually a stunt double for Bruce Willis. I think his name was Larry, but I don't know his last name, who fall down, and of course Larry fall down, and Bruce Willis was really nice. He was a real gentleman. He visited him, and even the same stuntman was also working for James Caan in Las Vegas, a TV show. Stallone was a special guest in a few episodes, which I remember. But also James Caan did visit him. Which I think that James Caan and Bruce Willis are gentlemen. They really did a honest, decent thing. And also I love why I love John McClane in this movie, because McClane says, that his wife divorced him, and that he says, that he does a good deeds, but they say, there you boy, you go, and he eats a lot of meals himself, he eats a lot of meals himself, he eats a lot of meals himself. His wife divorced him. His daughter doesn't want nothing with him. And in the open scene, we see McClane during the night, and his daughter, Lucy Gennaro, is kissing. And she says it's not McClane's Gennaro, it's just like stubborn, just like was Bonnie Bedelia in the first two movies, especially the first movie. It's not McClane's Gennaro. But then in the elevator she says, yeah, my dad, for one point, pop singer Britney Spears wanted to get the role to play the daughter of Lucy McClane, and I also wanted that, but I don't know why they didn't cast her, but they cast Mary Elizabeth Winstead, who previously did Final Destination 3, which I think she did a great job. And yeah, they cast her in this film, and I think Mary Elizabeth Winstead did a great job as Lucy Gennaro. She did a great job. Maggie Gu as Mai, she was great. And of course, Timothy Olyphant as Thomas Gabriel was excellent as the villains, the bad guy. I love the lines on your tombstone. It should be written always at the wrong place, always the wrong time. And McClane says, "What about you, PKA motherfucker?" And he shoots him, through the shoulder and kills him. That's my first scene, on the end. And also all the hackers that have been killed, and yeah. In McClane, there's also Kevin Smith in the film, which he says Cobain said that. McClane says Cobain said there's a fucking basement, and Kevin Smith says Warlock. I think it was Warlord or was Warlock, something like that, But Kevin Smith wrote his own line in the film, but he was funny. He helped McClane to find out where Thomas Gabriel is when he kidnaps his daughter, But yeah, Live Free or Die Hard actually works for me. Which I forgot to mention. McClane goes back and fights again off with May. They go in the elevator shaft. I think it was with the car, and of course Mai gets killed, and when of course Thomas finds out that he want to make personal, he said, "I'm gonna make personal," so he kidnaps his daughter, and of course McClane goes after them. There's also another scene in which McClane is driving a truck. Yes, he's driving a truck, and Thomas Gabriel says this F-18 to pilot that is a terrorist driving a truck to destroy it, and the terrorist does that. Not that the pilot, the war pilot from F-18 starts firing McClane, he says, you find the wrong guy, and McClane jumps on that bridge, that was actually all CGI, that was one of my personal problems, that was actually in CGI. But I think the cast did a great job, especially the actors who played the FBI. I think it was that guy who was later Han in Fast and the Furious. I think was I think was Sung Kang, that actor who played in Fast and the Furious. He played Han in the Fast and the Furious 3 Tokyo Drift, and later he showed up in Fast and Furious, Fast 5, Fast 6, and he was also with Stallone in that film. He was with Stallone in that film, what's called Bullet to the Head, which I like. But yes, I love this movie. I love Live Free or Die Hard to death. I think I love that it was actually on Independence Day. It was July 6th on Independence Day. And I also like the John McClane. I also love that John McClane is not only saving his daughter, he's also saving his friend, and Justin Long, Matthew Farrell. He's saving Matthew Farrell. But yeah, so he kills all the bad guys, John McClane kills all the bad guys, and yeah, I just love the film. I love the film. You know, that scene is definitely my favorite scene. He drives to the tunnel, he drives the car and says, do you think that the flying car is gonna stop me? You know, he goes to the police car, jumps out, you know, on the road, and there's a car that flies like this, you know, goes up and crashes in the helicopter, and the guy who's a sniper jumps off, you know, and the car hits the fucking helicopter and explodes. I think it took 3-4 months till it was done, you know. But yeah, I love Live Free or Die Hard to death. I mean, I talk about the first 3 movies more because I watched them so many times, you know. Live Free or Die Hard, didn't watch that much, but I still love this film. I have blast watching this film, Live Free or Die Hard. I never gets bored. And I love all 4 Die Hard films. I love all 4 Rambo films. I love all 4 Die Hard films. And I love all 5 Dirty Harry movies. You know, those Dirty Harry is actually my 3rd favorite franchise. You know, that will be the Die Hard films. Definitely will have been the 2nd favorite action franchise. The first one to me will definitely be the Rambo movies. Because you see my title, Rambo McClane for Life, means I'm a fan. A big fan of Rambo, big fan of Die Hard films, you know. In a few days there's gonna be Christmas, and I think there's gonna be on air Die Hard. But I love all 4. It was really hard to get this on Blu-ray. This was actually the last one that I got, you know. Was not sure to buy this film, but I did bought it that time for my collection, and I don't regret it. Yeah, there is also unrated version, but it's only, I think the unrated version is only on DVD. I don't know if it is somewhere a rip on it, but would like to see unrated version. This is theatrical cut. I thought it's unrated version. There is also unrated version, just like for Terminator Salvation, you know, there is also unrated version which is rated R, you know. This movie is PG-13, but you know what? For PG-13, in my opinion, definitely one of the best action films ever. Even though with CGI, you know, it didn't bother me. And the movie, actually, this movie was even more expensive than all 3 movies, you know, that they did. Because the first movie was the most cheapest one that they did. It was $25 million. Yes, I said cheapest because it was $25 million, you know. They, because it cost them less, because they did most of the film locations, they were actually in a building, you know. The second movie cost $70 million for the practical explosions, for the airplanes, you know, for the models, you know. It cost them $70 million, the second one. Die Hard Avengers cost even more than the second one. It cost $90 million, you know, which they did $90 million. It worldwide $300 million. This movie was a big hit, just like it was like the third one. But this movie cost $110 million. Even more. This was the most expensive Die Hard movie in the whole franchise. It made worldwide $300 million, which was a huge hit. Len Wiseman did a great job directing the film. Bruce Willis, once again, excellent performance as John McClane, even though he's bald now. Justin Long, great performance. Mary Elizabeth Winstead, great performance. Maggie Q and Timothy Olyphant, great performance. Maggie Q, you know, once again we have a female terrorist, just like the third movie. That's why I love this movie more than the second one. We do have a female terrorist, you know. The third one, I would definitely say Katya is better than Meg, in my opinion. But Maggie Q still has it. She still kicks ass, you know. She goes and kicks Bruce Willis' ass. You know, Bruce Willis still has jokes in the film, you know. Do I think they think this is better than 3? No. Die Hard 3 to me is the best one in my opinion. I love Die Hard 3. One of my personal favorite action films of all time. I put that movie on top 3 favorite action films. But also, like I said, the fourth one movie is actually kinda does follow the formula from the Roderick Thorp's novel Nothing Lasts Forever, because in this movie it is actually the daughter of McClane, you know. It is actually the daughter of McClane in the film, because in the novel it was Joe Leland's daughter, which became a hostage, and she was sleeping with that drug addicted with coke or with smack or heroin, what was his name, Alice, that she was sleeping with him, and he thought that his daughter probably could be involved in this scam, and he could have saved his daughter in the book. In this movie, in the first movie, John McClane did save his wife, and in this movie he did save his daughter, Even though the cops didn't, even the FBI showed up less later. But I love that this guy, Cliff Curtis, is a good guy in this movie, I hated his character in Collateral Damage, but in this movie he is a good guy. He was also Fear the Walking Dead. I think he was only in the first 2 seasons until I think in the 3rd season they killed him off, But I think they killed all the good characters in that show. That's why I quit watching it, But yeah, I think that the Die Hard 4 was definitely a good sequel to the Die Hard 1, 2, and 3. I think it's a good 4th sequel. I enjoyed the movie. The John McClane still kills the bad guys. There's tons of explosion. And I like the characters, I like the characters. Or John McClane goes with his gun, this time he has different gun, probably Glock or something. He has different gun, and when he catches the bad guys, he shoots two guys in the head, And on the end, Thomas Gabriel grabs and says on your tombstone, should be written always at the wrong place, always at the wrong time. And McClane says, what about EPKA motherfucker? And he doesn't curse that much because it's page 13, but he shoots, even for family film, it's still an action film, This is how RoboCop 3 should have been done. Not a comedy, not a parody or joke, They had to cut scenes out, that's why it was page 13, This is actually the first Die Hard that's not rated R, It was actually the first film that was not rated R. But yeah, but as to say, said that I love this movie today. It's one of my personal favorite action films. The first and the third one are definitely the best, in my opinion, Die Hard 2, definitely one of my favorite action films too. I love all 4 movies. I love to death, Yeah, there was also some complaints that it did not feel like a Die Hard film. No shit. Watch A Good Day to Die Hard and compare this movie, and I'll say this movie is miles better than A Good Day to Shit Hard, Because the last one, the 5th one, was the worst one, I don't know if I should review that film because I have nothing good to say about it except it's a forgettable, lackluster, lame, shitty, awful movie. And that movie, Bruce Willis really screwed up, But this movie, he did a great job. He did good performance. He was climbing the tracks. He was climbing the tracks. He was fighting my league. He even shoot one of the bad guys. Said, "I'll call ambulance." And he was still decent. He was still a good guy. He was still decent. And he asked Matthew Farrell to help him. They crack this car. And of course, that scene I kind of dislike when Matthew Long says I'm Dvorak, and he says, "Please start the car. My dad's gonna have a attack. Please." And they start the car, and that happens, But yeah, the final set in this movie is also, this time it's in Washington D.C. This is actually the final from New Jersey to Washington D.C. And this is the only Die Hard that actually continues more than just one day. The settings. And I forgot to mention, but Die Hard 1, Die Hard 2, Die Harder, and this movie, Live Free or Die Hard, all 3 movies are based on a novel. This movie, which I love to death, is not based on a novel. It's written by Jonathan Hinsley. That's why I love this movie, because it's not based on a novel, because it's straight up action movie from back to the beginning, and I really miss the movies. To me, one of the greatest 90s, best 90s action films ever. If you ask me which is the best 90s action film, my opinion, I would say Die Hard: The Vengeance. Yeah, people say Terminator 2 Judgment Day is the best 90s action film. My opinion, Die Hard: The Vengeance is the best 90s action film. My opinion. That's just my opinion. I'm speaking for myself. And Live Free Die Hard is still a decent, there's still action scenes, there's still shootouts, the open scene, he throws that spray, that fire hose, or how you call it, spray, he keeps firing, he kills one of the bad guys, the guy flies to the window, there's still stunt scenes, when you see John McClane fall down 20 feet below, that's a stuntman, that was for real, Fuck the colors that Len Wiseman says, the colors are terrible, I disagree, I enjoy the colors, there's nothing wrong with the colors. Great direction by Len Wiseman, great screenplay, smart screenplay by Mark Bombach and David Marconi. It was based on their story from that article. They did a great job, and Mark Bombach wrote the screenplay. And yes, Rennie Harlin passed the film. Rennie Harlin passed the film. John McTiernan passed the film. And I think Len Wiseman was an excellent choice to direct this film. This is his third film he directed, and I wish I would watch this film back in 2007, but I couldn't because my mom died at that time, and it was actually my final year in a school. I was a senior, and I was getting ready for the graduate, and I was working hard to get to pass the final exams, and yes, it was in August, but I couldn't because I had to repeat the tests, and getting ready for graduate in September. That's why I couldn't, I couldn't go to the movies that time, especially in that time because my mom died, my mom died. I'm an only child. My mom died. I couldn't, wasn't even interested about seeing the fourth Die Hard film, But I downloaded and watched it on computer until from the internet, I took it off until I finally got it on the Blu-ray, back in 2013 I got on Blu-ray. These movies I got on Blu-ray. This was the first one I got. That's Die Hard 2 Die Harder. Then I got the first Die Hard. I paid almost 20 euros for this movie. This was cheap. This is the most cheapest film I got. This is cheap. It was only 15 euros. This was 20 euros. This movie was expensive, This was also 20 euros, 20 bucks definitely. This movie, I think this was the cheapest one I got. This is the cheapest one. It was only, I think this is only 15 euros. This is the cheapest one. I think this was 17 euros with the shipment because I paid the shipment. But this was the most cheapest. I paid 15 euros for this film. This is the cheapest one, So yeah, this is actually the cheapest one I actually got, But the rest, the first and the fourth one, the most expensive items to buy. But I have hell of Die Hard 4 films. I don't know what much is to say about it. I love when John McClane is driving a truck and this guy with F-18, this war pilot goes and shoots him down, and see a practical effect, explosions. It was kind of CGI, but McClane jumps off the bridge. That's my favorite scene. The final scene when McClane kills those two bad guys, shoots them in the head. One guy bang, he shoots in the head. And then McClane, is wounded, and Thomas Gabriel grabs and says, "On your tombstone should be written always at the wrong time, always at the wrong place." Or was the backwards? It is a matter, always at the wrong place, always at the wrong time. And McClane says, "What about you people? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!" and shoots him through his shoulder and kills him. That's my favorite scene. Sorry if I did not say it correctly. The lines that Thomas Gabriel said, I'm not perfect. I'm sorry. But yeah, I love Live Free or Die Hard. It was my joy to review this film. It's the final film, the franchise that I reviewed. Stay tuned, I'll probably review the fifth one, and probably definitely gonna be a rant. A Good Day to Die Hard is gonna be a rant, but I'm gonna try to talk more about the film as I can. I don't have much positive to say about that film, it was awful, but I think a lot of people does. Before I go, I have a question. What is wrong with this film? Why it's not a good Die Hard movie? No, I don't get it. Why it's not a good Die Hard movie? Why people are hating this film? Or why this movie is not a good movie? Why? Or why this movie is not a good movie? Why these two movies are not a good movies, Even the third one nowadays gets shit on it, Even this movie gets shit on it, which I don't get it, The only praise that gets is this movie, Die Hard, the first movie. But they are unique, they all four great, In my opinion, Die Hard 4.0 or Live Free or Die Hard are the best, They're all great action films, Nowadays, action movies, definitely, they don't have nothing, John Wick 3, I love all John Wick, all three movies. But in my opinion, John Wick will never came out to Die Hard films. I'm sorry, but no. Even the fourth and the fifth John Wick is not gonna work, They're gonna film now John Wick 4 and 5 with a cliffhanger. Yeah, and that's gonna suck. The fifth one's gonna suck. So no, we don't need that. And by the way, John Wick Chapter 3 cannot come near this movie. In my opinion, it cannot come near this movie. I don't care what anyone says, how John Wick Chapter 3 is great. In my opinion, Die Hard Vengeance is great. My opinion, Die Hard is great. The first movie, My opinion, Die Hard 2 is great, This was the best one. My top 3 favorite action films, and of course this movie. Love this movie to death. I don't know if I should be talking about Good Day to Die Hard. I have nothing much about to say. Rick, come here. Rick, come here. Rick. Let's go up. So that's my review on Live Free or Die Hard, and I want to say me and my beautiful dog are actually saying now bye. Thanks for watching. I love reviewing these films. I'm still gonna review. Someday I might gonna review the Dirty Harry films. I don't know if I'm gonna review them today. I don't know. Because of the corona crisis, I think. Because of the corona crisis, I'm going back tomorrow working, so I will have less free time. So maybe Sunday I'll review the Dirty Harry films. Because I love them, I watch them every year, I love them. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and take care, and have a good day. And everyone, with Rick, let's say bye. Bye. Ciao.